welcome back to the Turntable Show. And thank you for joining us today. I did mention when I spoke to you the last time that I've got an amazing guest on the show, and I'm sure you heard that song. If you didn't have a tissue to if you didn't have a tissue to wipe your tears, I don't know what you were doing. Maybe you didn't feel that song, but I did. I did. Even the producer in the studio, he was just like, "Whoa, that is tough. That is some tough that's a tough song right there." So today, guys, if you're wondering who's behind that lovely song, it is Erin Barra. She's affectionately known as Mama Barra, among her clients and students. She wears many hats in the realms of music, technology, education, and activism. She's got a diverse skill spanning from music education to songwriting to production. And I would say also laying in the sunshine. She likes to lay in the sunshine watching the children swim. She's got an amazing spouse, which I got to find out about. He's also called Caesar, and I've got some questions about them as well as what she does outside of family life. She's into songwriting, production, entrepreneurship, and advocacy. She's been instrumental in various projects demonstrating her authority in music, tech, and education. And I beg your pardon me if I sound a bit croaky. I kind of lost my voice whilst trying to sing to that song. I was trying to sing that song all night, so I lost my voice, and pardon if I sound a bit horrible, but it's okay. She's currently serving as the director of popular music at Arizona State University, and she's the exec director at We Make Music. I'm excited to bring her here. And how are you doing, Erin?
I'm great. Thank you for having me and for the lovely introduction.
Yes, I had to make it short because literally I could speak for 3 days about what you do, because you're literally just amazing at all the stuff that you do. So if you don't mind just giving us a little prenup, apart from what I've said, can you give us a little idea about who Erin is?
I do a lot of different stuff, just like you said. But it's every single project I'm doing or anything I'm working on, it's always a bit of music, a bit of technology, and then looping in education and advocacy work somehow. So sometimes that's working in academia, like at a higher learning institution, and sometimes that's in studios. It's just a lot of different things. So it's sort of hard to dilute it down into one or two phrases. But mostly these days, I'm focused on providing the type of education that I think young musicians need in order to be successful right now. And then simultaneously working on getting more women and other gender minorities into the music industry. Yeah.
Wonderful. If you don't mind me asking, because obviously on your site it says that it was formerly called Beats by Girls. Why the name change? I just wanted to highlight that.
Well, when we started in 2013, it was literally teaching beat making to middle school aged girls in New York. So it made a lot of sense for us to be named that at the time. But the world has changed a lot since then, especially in terms of gender. So our community was changing. We needed something that was more inclusive of the different types of identities that we served. We're also not a youth organization, so the word girls, it made it sort of sound like we were just in schools, but we serve more adults than we serve kids, and it's so much more than beat making now. We've grown to sort of encompass production, songwriting, coding, just general like leadership literacy and all this kind of stuff. So I found myself saying, oh yeah, my organization Beats by Girls. And then I would have to explain why it's actually something different than what it sounded like. So, we decided to change the name. We decided to do it about 2 years ago. And then we figured out who the next, what that identity was, and pulled it off last November. So we've really only been We Make Noise for about 6 months now.
But that was my fascination, because usually noises usually got a negative connotation to it. So why did you go for We Make Noise? Like, what was the thought process?
Well, if you take the first three letters of each word, WMN, it still has this sort of like really gendered female centric
Mm,
thing to it, right? That's the
right,
word is just women without the vowels.
right.
So we know we wanted something more inclusive, but something that was still very gendered in a way.
Mm,
And I mean, out here, have you heard, let's make some
right,
noise?
right.
This idea of like being in the space and being disruptive in some
Mm,
sense,
mm,
like reclaiming that word and having it be powerful and instead of a negative connotation.
right, right. And that's something you've always been known for. Here
Mhm.
at the Turntable Show, we like to talk about moments where things turned around for you. It could either be those aha moments where you thought to yourself, right, I've got to make a change here. And it goes back all the way for me watching and doing some research about you. You said you were called Mama Barra from all the way in high school. What was it that made your friends and why you carried on with that name? Why they decided to call you Mama Barra? And you're in a point where you've decided to make a logo out of it and you've decided to carry on with that name from high school. Why did you think you should carry on with that?
I mean, I think
What was
that
the turntable moment for you, I guess?
I I feel like I have a way of just mothering people in a general sense, and this it makes sense to me now. It's just like why I'm good at what I'm doing or at what I do because I really care and I love to nurture talent and help people sort of get to the place that they want to be, which is advocacy work, right? That is education, that is production,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It's really just taking somebody from point A to point B in the most loving and positive way possible.
mm.
So, I was always taking care of people. Even as a kid, I was just more concerned about the well-being of people around me than sometimes even myself. And I think that
Right.
that's something a lot of women can relate to as
Mm,
well.
mm,
And yeah, it just sort of stuck. And then when it came time to create an LLC and have a business entity that could help me, go to where I needed in my career, I didn't even think twice about it. I just said,
mm.
oh, of course it's going to be called Mama Barra. And yeah, we're still kicking.
Okay. I'm gonna ask an odd question before we take a music break. So here it goes. How many tattoos do you have? Because I was looking and I'm like, okay, how many does she have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have five sort of larger ones and one very, very small one. So six.
Six.
Six
Are you planning to get
tattoos.
any more?
Maybe, yeah. Actually, I have been thinking about another one. It's been a long time, but I
Right.
have been thinking about one, yes.
Okay, so that
How many
was
tattoos
Erin.
do you have?
I don't have any. I've been thinking about getting some, hopefully behind my ear, but I don't have a good pain threshold. So when I hear you go 5, 6, I'm like, boy, just a piercing, like it hurts so bad for me, and I don't know how people do it, man.
I've birthed babies, and so
Right.
nothing. It's just like if I can do that, I can handle anything. Is my
Hey,
thoughts.
energy, energy. We're coming right back to the next question, and there you go, guys. There you go. That was Erin Barra, and we'll come back with some more questions for her. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us again. I am back with Erin Barra, and she was obviously telling us about her journey so far in terms of helping people out and finding their calling, really. But one thing that stuck out for me was her relationship with people, and that kind of joins in with what I want to ask her next, which is how did you meet your partner, Caesar?
My husband.
Mm,
Um, I met him online,
okay.
actually,
What
in
is it, a high five
Brooklyn.
situation or MySpace or what?
It was a site called OkCupid,
Okay,
which it's like predating Tinder.
right.
It, otherwise, we would have never ever ever met. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for the internet. But we
Hmm.
I met
Considering
him.
you're
I
considering you're a producer and you're out there a lot, why do you think so?
He's not in music.
Right.
When I met him, he was working at a hospital. He's a personal trainer now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and his parents are Haitian immigrants,
Mm,
and we just weren't really like. living in the same New York, even though we were, physically in the same place, we were just in completely different communities. So yeah, we met really quickly online. I met him 5 days after I made a profile.
Wow.
And then we've literally been together since that day. It was September 14th, 2012. And we've never broken up. We've never been apart. And yeah, this will be celebrating our 12-year anniversary coming up here this September.
That's
you.
massive, especially in this day and time, where making up and breaking up is the in thing. Who made the first move when you say you met up real quickly? Who made the first move online?
I did. I have always been. Yeah. I was the first person to, try to get a kiss, and I was also the first person to say we should get married.
Wow. So you proposed.
We were marriage aligned, we've got it's definitely not a fairy tale.
Right.
Yeah, it's like we needed to make a few moves in our lives. I was moving up to Boston to be working at Berkeley, and we needed to make some decisions, are we going to do this or are we not going to do this? And so I decided that we were going to get married, and then I let him propose in his own time.
Right. But funny is you dropped the hints.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So looking at his profile and his locks, would you ever consider having locks?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Why? Why not?
I definitely don't have the hair texture for that. He wants our kids to have them. He wants me to lock up my kids' hair now. So we sort of go back and forth about it. He has beautiful hair. I love it. And if I could, maybe I would, but I don't know. It's like an expression of blackness, and it's just so beautiful. I think my kids will eventually have them.
Great stuff. Obviously, I've got locks, and I'm a lover of locks. So when I saw that he's got locks, and I'm like, I can't even imagine what Erin would look like if she had locks, just for the fun of it.
Bright red dreadlocks.
And you know that you're just going through your little prime moment where you just want to have a change of look and stuff. So I just thought I'd ask that question. So the next question I have for you is, what side of the bed do you like to sleep on?
If you're looking at the bed, I sleep on the left side.
That's where the heart is. Why?
Oh yeah? I don't know. I just started sleeping there. I don't even remember why or how or when. It's just the way it is.
Have you ever slept on the left side in terms of since you guys got together?
Yes. When we go visit my parents, we actually switch sides, which is interesting. But that particular room, it just it has to be that way. So
right. Okay. That's a good thing. So at this moment, before I get on with more of my questions that are taking you off guard, we'll take a music break again, and we'll be back. Hey, thank you very much for coming back on the Turntable Show. We still have Erin on the line, and I'm excited to wrap up the interview with her. But before we wrap it up, I definitely want to ask her one more question. One question that's definitely been on the minds of many producers is the emergence of AI and how it would affect their earnings. How do you feel about it? Because I think I saw a post yesterday about producers who are worried that many movies and top movie makers in the industry would rather go for AI generated music rather than the hassle of licensing, hassle of splits, royalties and stuff by using real humans. So how do you feel, and would you think there's a place for AI, and how would producers and songwriters still earn in this new development?
I feel like somebody asked me this sort of same question about TikTok the other day. Like, how do I feel about TikTok? And I almost feel like it doesn't matter what I think because the world chose it, right? Like the world has chosen TikTok, and that's just happening with or without us. So, it's probably to everybody's advantage to use the tool that's there in order to, reach the people that you should be reaching. And I sort of feel the same way about AI, where the world is choosing it really quickly. And for as many negative examples as I could come up with about why it's detrimental to creatives, I could probably come up with an equivalent list about all the ways it's going to make life easier for people who, you know, are mega producers even. So I don't know. It intrigues me. I've started to use a lot of different AI tools, and it saves me time, which I love, because that's like the most precious resource that we have, is the time that we have. So in my own personal use of it, I find it to be really good. But I totally understand sort of the counter argument, especially for creatives. But it's happening with or without us, right? So I think it's on us now to figure out, how do we legislate in order to ensure that creatives don't lose the lifeline that they are barely hanging on to already from, you know, as is. But we can't, I'm just afraid it's going to be the same thing that happened to the music industry when streaming happened. You know, everybody just pushed so hard against it, and physical distribution. We spent so much money producing CDs, right? And trying to get people to buy music, when that's just not what's going down anymore. People are streaming and subscribing. So I'd like to see the music industry sort of embrace what's happening, as opposed to try to stop something that is, it's just inevitable. Like, this is happening to us.
I totally get you. I totally get you. And obviously, as a musician myself as well, I know that the amount of hassle I've had in terms of, sometimes it would take 2 months, 3 months just to get music out of a producer. Obviously, they send you the stems and it just never happened. But the thing is, I know that I can entrust in you to come up with something. That's what I wanted to say. I trust you to come up with something. And I just know you would, because you're in the industry. You can speak for both sides, which is the songwriters, the producer side. You can speak for every side. I know how much hassle I've had to deal with in terms of building relationships, making sure you find the right producer, and then suddenly the right producer goes for the right amount of money rather than you paying them peanuts. So it just goes around in circles, versus in 2 hours, really, you can use AI and just get rid of that hassle of dealing with humans. But like you said, it does have its advantages and disadvantages. One final word is there anything, any piece of advice that you would have for the next guest on the Turntable Show? Even though you don't know them, just throw it out there.
You know, be cool, speak your truth. You know, you're going to get asked some questions you didn't expect. So just roll with it and enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much, Erin Barra. It was amazing having you on there. I'm jealous of that studio of yours. Whenever I do come round to America, I'm coming after your baby piano. That's just my request and putting it out there in the universe, and I'm sure it's going to happen. But whenever I'm around, I'll definitely be in touch. But thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and do take care. I definitely will be following you online and seeing all the great stuff that you're up to.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.